Hey, and welcome to Board with Life News for March 7th. Today I'm going to talk about Cusco, an expansion for Whistlestop, Thanos Rising, Space Base, and the Kickstarter for Miss Thea. Let's get to it. Cusco is coming from Super Meeple. This is a reprint of the Kiesling and Kramer game Java by the obviously very, very popular, famous designers Kiesling and Kramer. If you're unfamiliar with Super Meeple, they do incredible, like their reprints are like, they redo all the artwork, they have like usually really, really good 3D components, and in the case of Kiesling and Kramer, a lot of their games have like stacking components, so instead of them being tiles, there's these really nice like 3D beautiful elements. They've previously done, Super Meeple's previously done Mexica and Tikal by Kiesling and Kramer, so this will kind of complete that trilogy. So I'm very, very excited about it. I love Kiesling and Kramer. I've actually never played Java, but I'm a huge fan of Mexica and Tikal and a lot of their other games that I've played. So the fact that it's going to have great art and great components from Super Meeple is very exciting to me. Whistlestop is getting an expansion called Rocky Mountains. This is by Bezier Games. This is going to add a 3D mountain board, which is very interesting. I'm not sure how it is 3D because their expansion box looks very, very thin. So I don't know if it's just stacking tiles because Whistlestop is kind of a tile placement game. But interested in that, it's apparently going to add special tiles, 2 new train routes, 2 new towns, 9 new upgrades, 6 new shares, so seems like a whole bunch of stuff, and it's due out in August. Thanos Rising, Avengers Infinity War is coming out from USAopoly. Obviously, this is a tie-in to the upcoming Avengers Infinity War movie. It is going to be a co-op dice and card game, so interesting to see how they do that. In it, you're going to be recruiting heroes and joining forces to defeat Thanos, so what you'd expect. So, USAopoly traditionally has kind of just been a Monopoly reskin company, but as of late, they've been getting more and more into the hobby game side of the thing. They released Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle in 2016 that was very, very well received in the hobby gaming community. I think it's ranked like 300 on BGG right now, so clearly they did a really good job with that. So hopefully they're keeping that same pedigree, and this will actually be a really good game. It's always a toss-up with thematic games, whether they're just like quick cash-ins or they actually put the work in, so fingers crossed. Space Base is coming out from AEG. In this game, you're going to be commodores of a fleet of ships, and it's a combination of kind of like dice chucking with engine building. So in it, you're going to be purchasing upgrades, and those upgrades can score you points in different ways and give you different abilities and stuff like that, mixed kind of with the fun dice luck elements of dice rolling. So it seems interesting. It seems like a pretty light, easy-to-learn game. It's due out in April. This week's Kickstarter is for Miss Thea. This is an awesome looking fantasy game with really kind of the very nice artwork, but the miniatures, the character design of the miniatures is really, really, really cool. So that's exciting because, you know, obviously there's whole slews of miniature games coming out on Kickstarter these days, and these actually look a little bit unique, which is nice. It's combining area control and hand management, so it looks like it's using Euro mechanics, even though it's kind of like a more thematic Ameritrash looking game. I really like that. Things like Blood Rage and Rising Sun that are combining Euro mechanics with the fun bits of Ameritrash games I'm into. The coolest part of this game, to me, is you're on floating islands. So it's an area control game, but you can change kind of the adjacency of the islands, which adjacency is a big part of area control games. So that seems really interesting, where you can kind of like move your island or someone else's away from you, something like that. And it's a competitive game that has parts of the game where a giant monster will attack and everyone has to cooperatively work to kill the monster. So I like that too, where it's like competitive with a little bit of co-op. It is not cheap, however. It's about $100 right now on Kickstarter, but if that sounds interesting to you, you should go check it out and back it. Alright, that's the news for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you follow me on social media. I'm at Chris Bryan Games on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, I forgot to ask a question this week, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about what's going on. Just a reminder, this is now a podcast as well. It's literally just the audio from these videos, but if you're in the car or it's easier for you to ingest it as a podcast, be my guest. You can find it either by following the link in the description of this video or searching iTunes or wherever you get podcasts for Board with Life News. Yeah, so that's just hopefully easier for some of you. Tomorrow I'm going to be releasing my What's on My Table video, which is my exclusive for Patreon backers that pledge $1 a month or more. So basically, if you pledge to me on Patreon, you get access to that video, and it's just, I talk about the games that I've been playing over the past month. So this would be covering the month of February. So yeah, if you're interested in that kind of thing, do that. I just released about a week ago my first design vlog, which is for my Patreon backers $3 and up, and that's where I talk about all the games I'm designing and kind of hopefully going step by step through the design process, and you can see them month to month how they're growing and hopefully getting signed and all that kind of production stuff like that. So if that's interesting to you, you should go check that out as well. There's a link to my Patreon in the description below. Yeah, so sorry I didn't do a question this week. I just totally forgot to ask one, or ask for them, and I will see you next week.